What's going on, Healing Place Church? So glad you decided to join us on this blessed Monday to kick off this soul care devotional series. I'm excited about this series. I'm excited about just how much it's going to enrich your life. It's enrich your soul, enrich the homes of our church. So I'm excited about what God's going to do through it, but we're going to jump in today. We're looking at Mark chapter 8, verses 34 through 37, and we're looking at the man himself, the one and only Jesus Christ, preaching a little message. He's got a little altar call working right here. We're going to pick up in verse 34. It says, "Then calling the crowd to join his disciples, he said, 'If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake and for the sake of the good news, for the sake of the gospel, you will save it.'" Another translation says, "You will find life." That sounds so good. He goes on to say, "And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? Is there anything worth more than your soul?" Man, Jesus is giving an altar call right here, and he's mentioning all types of things. Man, he's talking about crosses. He's talking about the gospel, which isn't even there yet, really. He hasn't gone to the cross yet. He talks about giving up your life. He talks about finding life. And I think that we live in a place and space and time where, man, it's so important for us to find verses like this and remind ourselves what being a Christian is really about. You see, it's so easy for us to get caught up in the rat race of American Christianity and churches on every corner and church channels and Christian channels. And Christianity has almost become one of those things. It's almost become like an ethnicity. It's like something that you're born into. But see, this isn't the Christianity that Jesus is talking about at all right here. See, the Christianity he's talking about, which is true Christianity, is all about a decision. Man, it is a path, it is a choice, it is a calling. And he's saying not only can it be a calling, but it must be your core calling. It must be what you are about, your life mission. And he goes on, he mentions a cross. And I love that he mentions a cross because when they thought of crosses, they knew exactly what he was talking about. But they knew he wasn't talking about the crosses that we like to wear around our chains. Because Jesus hadn't gone to a cross yet. So their only recollection of what a cross meant was a person that was cursed, a person that was a criminal, a person that was supposed to die the most shameful possible death ever. And this is Jesus' sales pitch. He says, you must take up a cross. See, what he's talking about here is he's basically saying, man, if you want to follow me, you're going to have to take up your own electric chair. You're going to have to take up your own lethal injection. You're going to have to invite your own death in order to follow me. See, being a Christian is about where you go on a Sunday morning. And it's not about how many Bible verses you know or being able to rhyme or have biceps like Pastor Mike Heyman. It's all about just becoming more and more like Jesus. And I think there's no better picture to illustrate what this is than the Last Supper. And we've all seen the painting. And at the Last Supper, Jesus did something so profound. It says as his disciples walked into this nice dinner, it was customary for the servant, the lowest servant on the totem pole, the one, this is worse than being the busboy. The one that nobody wanted to be, the job that nobody wanted to have would be at the door washing people's feet. But it says that when his disciples walked in, they saw Jesus himself there. And it says that he said these powerful words. It says that he laid aside his robe and he took up a towel. And what he's saying is he laid aside his resume, his deity. He laid aside his schedule. He laid aside all of his worldly value. And he picked up a towel and began to wash the dirtiest, scariest, nastiest places of his disciples' feet. And that's exactly what Jesus has done for you and me. He has left all of heaven. He's left everything that we could ever imagine and want and desire in order to come down to this earth to be with us and to cleanse us of our sin. And see, he's calling us to do exactly the same thing. See, he says in his kingdom, in order to become the greatest, you must become the least. In order to go the highest, you've got to go the lowest. It's like the Christian cha-cha slide. How low can you go? He says in order to be a leader of all, you must become the servant of all. And I know that I'm not really selling this thing either better. I'm talking about dying to yourself. I'm talking about washing feet. I'm talking about serving other people. I'm talking about following Jesus. But see, Jesus knew something that we don't really have the ability to grasp. He knew there was either this or that. He knew it was either we follow him or we give up our soul. He knew it was either we go to serve everyone else or we end up in hell. He knew that we were going to end up feasting from his table or we're going to end up starving. And I just want to share this with you guys. You know, I've shared a lot of struggles with you guys over the past few years. And most of you know that over the past couple of years, I've had a mental health struggle since a back surgery I had last year. And, you know, the doctors have tried medicines here and tried medicines there. And, you know, just recently here, the doctor had taken me off of a medication that was not working well with me. It had me just out of it, whatever. It was not working well. And, man, I went through about a week to 2 weeks of almost feeling like my soul was dead, almost feeling like my soul was empty. And it was like I just couldn't experience the presence of God or the purposes of God. I couldn't necessarily even receive his truth or even trying to recount, you know, his faithfulness in the past. It felt like it just would not grasp my soul. Even sitting in worship on a Sunday morning, I felt dead to it all. And I'm sure it was because of this medicine. It was just such a tough couple weeks. And I found myself hungry for the things of the world. You know, let's go get some food here. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go have fun here. And I only found myself more and more hungry the next day. And this is exactly what Jesus is trying to tell you. He says, the man who tries to hold on to his life will lose his life. But the one who gives up his life for my sake will find life. And, you know, I felt like God let me experience what it feels like again to be dead and bankrupt and just empty in your soul, like so many people are in our world, in our city, and in our time. And it was the worst thing ever. And I really just came here today just to really plead with you. Man, give Jesus a chance. It's too good to pass up. I will spend the rest of my life trying to convince people that, man, in order to gain life, in order to gain all the things that you truly desire, man, you've got to come to the one who truly created your soul, who created your soul to desire him, to desire that heavenly Father, to desire that intimacy, that purpose, that presence, and that peace that can only be found in laying your entire life in Jesus' hands. See, our God, he's a gentleman. He's not going to take what you don't give him. He's not going to take your finances. He's not going to take your family. He's only going to take what you offer up to him. And whatever you give him, man, he will always give you back way more than you ever thought, asked, or imagined. I hope that blesses you today. I'm praying for you guys today. Man, give it to him all. Give him your day today and see what he can do. See you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed day.